JBR Podcast.
Wake up and check it out.
Where the music and life connects. Let's go.
So we met, I don't know how many years ago. You were running the Wolf Bar.
Yeah, somewhere in that era. Yeah. I think it was one of the first jam nights. So a few years pre-COVID.
Yeah. And who was that? That was Fred running that.
It was Fred, yeah.
Fred, yeah. May he rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like what's going on in your world? I know I come from the blues world and you had the blues jam at your place, but you're doing a lot of shit in a lot of different areas. So tell us about it, wherever you want to start.
I mean, God, that's an understatement. I've had my hands in all sorts of things. I am still at the Wolf. I'm still a fill-in sound guy there, but they've got a couple of really great guys running it now. Natalie is running the show there, so she's got that place just hopping with music all the time. I spend most of my days over at the Haney Public House. I DJ over there, bartending, and just kind of trying to bring music back to that place as well. They have a really cool live music thing on Saturdays, but I kind of want to bring in more originals and kind of go that route as well.
What is the schedule that's going on at the Haney? Because there is a lot more music going on in there.
There is. They've got some things. So like Linda, she's doing the live thing on Wednesdays. She's got her live music Wednesdays there, which is awesome. 6 to 8, and that dance floor is packed. I mean, watching Buddy stand between you and your guitar and play away, like in all my years, I've never seen that.
Yeah, that's an old school. That's an old school thing.
That was cool. Friday nights they have their karaoke there. So you get the people that love to get up and belt. And then every Saturday they seem to have something going on. Last Saturday was Led Zeppelin tribute that apparently was off the charts amazing. Like rebooked them right away. They were called The Ocean.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean they do mostly tributes there, and just about every weekend.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing because COVID killed so much. So having us met before COVID, how did musically things for you change? Like during COVID and now that things are starting to somewhat seem normal, but there was that big period people are forgetting about why things are tough.
You know what? Honestly, things changed. I mean, things changed a lot. I went from DJing every weekend, full nightclubs. We had everything packed all the time, and it was movie level picturesque. It was everything you dreamed of being a DJ. And then COVID hit, and people learned how awesome house parties are. And and yeah, it kind of just died off. I mean, I didn't DJ for a few years afterwards. That's when I got really into doing sound and working with bands. And it just seems now that people are getting back out there and dancing again.
Yeah, I think the fear of wanting to be isolated from people is kind of over these days. Now I remember when it first hit, like a bless you turned into a fuck you, right?
Yeah. I said to a buddy during it, I remember one time I was sitting next to a person in a movie theater. It was the first time we were able to go back and see a movie, and I had to sneeze, and I turned and I went to sneeze, and the way I turned, I threw my back out.
Oh shit.
I was like, you know what? Fuck that person next to me. My back was out for a week because I was trying not to be a dick.
Yeah, no, that's a whole other era of stuff. So that got you into audio kind of engineering, mixing kind of side of things. So now when it opens up, you're kind of juggling both areas, because I've seen you got some DJ things going on, or didn't you have one at the Haney?
Yeah, actually, so I'm essentially their resident DJ. Anytime they need a DJ for something, they call me to do it. And then, yeah, I mean, kind of having your hands in both was stretching it too thin. So I did really put the DJing down for a while. Because really, I mean, I tried to do a couple events and it was the wrong time. It just wasn't there yet. But I mean, yeah, live music is really that kept everything going. Because I don't know what it was, but you musicians, man, you guys, you are persistent.
Well, you'll figure that out quickly if you're booking people.
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, I did metal booking. The Wolf. I mean, anybody that knows it knows that it is the place to go see a metal show. And I did booking for a long time there, and that's one thing I learned is that musicians, hell or high water, whether it be 10 people or 10,000 people, will fucking play.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's true. So where's your heart at with things in that? Because I know sometimes money, like I know at least in my career, money drives me to do some things that maybe wouldn't be at the top of my priority list.
yeah, I mean, in my world, like doing weddings, DJing weddings, and like corporate events, we call that selling our soul for money. Because I mean, you're essentially just live Spotify at those events. But I don't know, man. Everything is just seeing people dance. There's something so pure about the love of dancing. It brings so many different people together, and the connections I've seen happen on a dance floor while playing to the people and keeping them going. I mean, that's money. If money didn't exist, that would keep me going in the world.
Yeah. And you can't get that at a wedding with a bunch of drunk family members dancing with each other.
It's different. It's very different. There's, you get the mother-in-law that is just, she's had one too many bottles of wine, and those come with a do not play list. And 9 times out of 10, it's Uncle Frank's favorite fucking song, and he wants to hear it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've played a few weddings and I usually turn them down because you're right. People want that jukebox of whatever they're thinking of in that moment for whatever genre it is. So when people have booked me, it's kind of like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, unless you want like a blues themed wedding, but it's legit happened. But yeah. Interesting environments compared to clubs.
Yeah, very much so. Very, very different. I employ a few DJs, and these guys have done like they're in the rave scene. They're doing EDM shows, big lasers, big lights. And one of my guys, I told him, I was like, hey, I got this wedding. If you want to do it, it's X amount of dollars. He jumped on it. And when I sent him the list, he's like, I don't know any of these artists. This is where it becomes a learning experience. And then the do not play list was everything that he loved playing. Now you get it.
Yeah. That's a quick lesson. Well, I always told people when I worked back at Pavi with Tom Lavin, it's not the music I like business. It's the music business.
Yeah, you learn to like what you get locked into playing.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So you've got some DJs, so people can call you up. Like if somebody needs a DJ, they call you.
Yeah. Essentially, a lot of my business comes from friends and supporters on social media groups, because like people hit those community groups and like, hey, I need a DJ. Because I mean, there's no yellow pages anymore, so it's the next best thing. But they get a hold of me, and it's usually something along the lines of, hey, I've got this event. And if it's not something that I feel comfortable I can handle myself, I've probably got somebody that works with me that can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been interesting because I mean, like Christmas season coming, you get booked for so many different things, and it's interesting because I mean, like we're doing a jiu-jitsu party, we're doing a bank's corporate party, like you get all over the place.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I'm going to have to, I say this all the time. I'll put your stuff in the description. So those that need a DJ or something, they can, we'll make sure we get your socials. And so Little Shop of Shirts, like, tell me about that.
So there's There's a prime example of when ADHD goes wildly out of control. Uh, it all started with a decal. I used to run a 4x4 club, and I was getting hosed on decals. And I realized that for the same amount of money that I could order them from and get them delivered, I could go buy the machine and the vinyl and do them myself. I then realized that, hey, with an iron, I can make a shirt. I love humorous shirts. Did that. One friend saw it. Another friend saw it. It spiraled. And then somebody ordered a large amount of them. And then I saw the money. And that was it. I was like, oh, there's money to be made here. So, I mean, we went from being in my third bedroom in my house, listening to tunes and whatnot, and we ended up opening the store in Maple Ridge for the 2.5 years that we operated it. And yeah, I mean, I always look back on that. I'm like, that whole thing, we opened a physical store off of fuck this guy, you're charging me too much.
Yeah. Necessity, right?
Exactly. But I mean, like, it's cool too, because after we closed the store, we kept the business going. So my partner, Christine, she does production at her house, and then I do design and administrative stuff here at my place. And it's been cool though, because like through the Haney and through friends and whatnot, we still see so much coming through, which gives us the ability to be creative still, because a large part of the enjoyment of it is the graphic design. When people come to you with an idea and they're like, hey, I saw this screenshot, or I had this idea, and then you just clickety clack and, you know, throw some things together, and the joy that they get out of something that I deem so simple. I mean, that's, I'll do that till the day I die if I can.
So can it be one-offs? Like, can somebody come and just have like a one-off idea?
Yeah, so the type of printers that we use, it's called direct-to-film printing. And what it does is the same kind of ink that's used in screen printing just comes out of an inkjet printer on a really big format. And then we just heat press that ink into the shirt. So because there's no screen setups, there's no nothing like that, we have no minimum orders. So a large part of what we do is people being like, hey, I need a last-minute gift. Can you do it for me by Thursday? Like, I don't like you right now, but I sure can.
Yeah. Fair enough. That's probably something that I ask, because as a musician, I've done shirts in the past and, you know, albums, and it's a big commitment, you know, when it's like, oh, okay, well, you know, if I order 100, it's this price, but if I order 200, now if I order 500, it's this price. You know, you're getting it, you know, these price chops as you buy more. And with musicians, sometimes it's like, okay, well, I got to buy my CDs, got to buy my shirts and merch. But a lot of things for musicians have shifted to merchandise.
Yeah.
You know, where they're not, like, people don't buy CDs anymore. Maybe they'll take a digital download.
They're going back the way of the CD. I'm literally
that trend.
I'm about to release a compilation of my tracks on CD and sell them at my shows, because there's been requests for them.
For CDs?
For CDs. Okay, think of it this way.
Are you playing to the same people I play to that are all in their...
Well, here's the thing.
60s?
CDs now are yesterday's vinyl. I collect vinyl. These kids collect CDs. So it's... it's
going full circle.
Yeah, it's bloody weird.
Yeah. You know, it probably is like the best medium, I think, for like durability. And, you know, I know records and vinyl sounds great, but you know how many tape cassettes I've opened up and had to try and rewind the tape together, or
try and find a pencil?
Yeah, exactly. And wind that stuff up. CDs I actually liked them. I thought they were pretty good, but.
And I mean, there's a reason why on, like, when I produce a track on my computer, one of the options is to release it as CD quality. I mean, it's a benchmark. It's a good one.
Yeah, I wonder where all the mediums go, because I hear, well, you're telling me some people are coming back with CDs, and in the back of my mind, I always wondered that too. You know, does it come back and people want to like start producing 8-track cassettes again? Like, I don't know, right? But to see CDs come back, I guess it's not super shocking, but
No,
yeah.
and I mean that's the thing is like I'm a lot of vehicles nowadays. People don't realize this, but there's a button on your flat screen in your on your vehicle, and it pops down, and there's a CD player behind it. Like I've owned my van for a couple years, and just learned last month that there's an eject button there, and the screen pops down. Like
yeah.
looked it up. I'm like, it's still a common thing for CD players to be out there, which blows my mind because I mean, where's my aux cord?
Yeah, they don't even make cars anymore though, or laptops like with CD players.
Oh, I feel that. I just acquired somewhere in the realm of 100 CDs from an old club, and back when it was a CD thing, and was thinking about it. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna rip this. I'm gonna throw it onto a hard drive. I don't own jack shit with a CD drive.
I know. I had to buy this little $25 CD thing that plugs in USB.
I was looking at one of those. I'm gonna ask you which one you got.
I'd have to go look. It's been a while since I used it, so I'm sure there's much better models out these days. But yeah, I guess in terms of ripping it all down, I don't know. As you get into an MP3, everything starts sounding like shit anyway. So does transfer speeds matter as long as it doesn't corrupt it? I don't know.
Right. At this point, I'm looking for transfer speed because there's so much to do. I don't want to spend a month doing it.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. And I guess you got to throw one in and then have it ripped and then throw another one
and
in.
not
So
to
you gotta
mention,
be
there
around.
the hardest part. I think the hardest part is going to be. I think I need to pre-listen to them because they're so old. I don't want to rip anything that has skips in it. So,
Oh shit.
like,
So we'll talk to you in 20 years.
exactly.
So you're done yet.
Like, remember those 2002 jams?
Yeah. So you're going to listen to them all and then you're going to, I guess, throw away the ones that you don't want to rip and then filter it down and then.
Yeah, I either that or just rip everything and hope for the best and delete it if it skips.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I guess depends how much you enjoy spending your time on that. But I would.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I'd go with the faster option.
Yeah.
And so what else is going on in your world? So you got Little Shop of Shirts, which is still kind of going, so people can reach. I might even reach out to you for that. People have been asking for some T-shirts and things, and
I'm for those kind of corporate things. Like I mean, we call them corporate things, but for bands and whatnot, rather than you ordering like 200, we do it on the assumption that eventually you're going to have ordered a significant number, and you just get locked into one price right away. So
that's good.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no, because the company, like, they have these things online now where you just sign up and they say, here's our cost. If you want to make money, tack on how much percent, you want to do. And I set one up for for the podcast thing, and it's like 0%. I don't make any money, but just the price that they're charging online, and they're obviously set up to do the one-off. So that's what was curious, because obviously I'd rather support local. Because I think Dee had said that your partner there like lives down the street from me.
Yeah, I just learned that. You guys are like practically neighbors.
Yeah, so I'm like,
so yeah, your pickups wouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah, shipping would be really cheap, right?
Yeah.
I just go down there and
yep.
load it up. Yeah, no, that's awesome. So, do you have anything planned for New Year's this year?
Actually, yeah, we have. I'm at the Wolf Bar this New Year's. So it's their usual party. They do. It's open from 8 until 4 a.m. And they do like finger foods and whatnot throughout the night. Free champagne at midnight. All like the hats and noisemakers you can handle. And then I'm DJing for 8 hours straight. So it's gonna be everything. I'm gonna be jumping through the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, EDM, hip hop. I'm gonna essentially try and play everything that I have.
Nice. Give a good run there. I'm curious, in the DJ world, like, have you seen New Year's like kind of stay the same, during, post COVID?
No. It like I said, like New Year's was actually the kind of the thing that where I was like, maybe it is time to take a break. It was I think it was actually the first year out of COVID, and we had a huge thing planned, and it was a dead night, and I've never seen a dead New Year's before, and so it was kind of one of those things like, all right, it's not time yet, and then last year, even last year, yeah, last year it's not crazy like it used to be. Like we used to there was a New Year's midnight hit, and we were taking champagne bottles and spraying the crowd while they were dancing to Party Rock Anthem. Like it was crazy. And then COVID happened, and obviously, I mean, we call it the blip because everything just kind of disappeared for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then yeah, it came back, and it was like nothing. There was nothing going on. People were still, like you said, very afraid. But yeah, I mean, it was just odd.
And now things are kind of
Things are
up.
yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, I see it picking up in the music industry, but even before COVID, New Year's is they were dying out, and because in the not like I'm going to age myself on you, but in the late '90s, early 2000s, New Year's was like the payday for musicians. Like their average, to better than average pay throughout the year was like 4 and 5 times on a New Year's night. So if a venue paid $1,000 for a band on an average Thursday or Friday night, it was costing them like $5 to $8 grand on a New Year's night.
Yeah. See, and now like the same thing in my world. It was we charge at the door, and we keep the door. So I mean, an average party would be like $10-15. You could charge 20-30 on New Year's, and nobody would bat an eye. Now, like even this year, I think New Year's is $15 to get in, and we used to charge double, triple that, and yeah, I mean, people are so hesitant, and I mean, a lot of that is economic. People just aren't out to spend the money like they used to be. But I actually, it's funny because like the state of people going out. Somebody said it to me a while back that their theory on it is that when Tinder and all that came out, people didn't have to go out to find a date anymore or to find a partner. They could just do it from home, and therefore bars almost became obsolete. And I thought that was strangely accurate.
Yeah, I haven't actually heard that side of things, but I think that's definitely a factor. People would, hey, guys can just sit on their couch and swipe right, whatever. I guess times have changed where you have to go like, yeah, where do you meet people if you're not meeting them online? But that's an interesting thing. I am seeing people wanting to get out and dance more, and the economic factor does make it tough. And I think, as you said earlier, during COVID, everybody was okay and thought it's pretty cool to party at home. This is fun. Mm-hmm. But then they're realizing, wow, it's a lot cheaper, and I had just as much fun.
Yeah. And you know what? That's one of the things I really commend our local bars about, like the Wolf and the Haney together. Both of them are really dedicated to keeping their prices as low as possible. Because like I've been to a couple places, and I don't drink anymore, but like I went to a concert with some friends, and I always knew like concert pricing was outrageous, but I think I paid $12 for a bottle of water at one point, and it was outrageous. And I'm like, I mean, kudos to the small bars for keeping live music and cheap drinks. Like that's it's tough.
Yeah, it is. I'm a huge hockey fan, and through like my day work stuff in marketing, I've had hockey tickets thrown my way, and I'm not a Canucks fan, but I'll go to any game just to cheer against them. And going up there it's crazy. It's like $18.50 for a can of beer. Like,
Yeah.
well, you know, a can and a half if you want to look at it. But I'm like,
Yeah.
are you kidding me? I think I bought 2 beers and 2 like White Spot burgers and fries, and it was like $60.
Yeah, see, that's my problem. I'm an eater, so when I go, I'm like, I want the donuts, I want the hot dog, I'm getting a burger, like you name it, and I've spent $100
$100
in one
food.
lap.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, right? Even with free tickets, it's a $500 night.
Yeah, exactly.
With your
Lord,
parking and everything.
God forbid you stop somewhere after.
Yeah, well, and I think, you know, in the world I came from, there was like 6 night a week gigs, and people would go to the bar 3-4 times in the same week. I don't think people could afford to do that, which is a big part of why I think that cycle of things have died out. I know the nightclub things, even back in the 90s, like they would often only be open Thursday, Friday, Saturdays because they made a shit ton of money because it was like a nightclub. And then all the live venues, whether it was blues or country or rock, didn't matter. They always kind of had like 7 night a week music, Sunday jams and bands all throughout the week. And then as things got slower and slower, you know, it wasn't 6 nights a week music. It was 3 nights. Then it was 2 nights, and then it's 1 nighters.
Yeah, I mean, that's so accurate, because I mean, there's a new bar opening in Maple Ridge, and it's gonna be a country bar, but they're running nightclub type hours, and they're only running Friday, Saturdays from 8 till 1. And a lot of it is because like nobody's going out during the week. I mean, most Maple Ridge folk are young families nowadays, so they got kids to put to bed. Like there's nobody doing anything Monday to Thursday. So Friday, Saturday, I mean, that's where you're gonna make it.
Yeah, I wonder, like, you're tapped into it way more than me, but what, and well, I should know, I guess, because my oldest is going to be 19 this Friday. But like, what is that generation doing? Like the 18 to 25-year-olds?
I mean, my best guess, I have a 20-year-old myself. So, I mean, I know my kid sits at home with friends, smoking and drinking and playing video games. And I've a few times I've been like, hey, why don't you come out? I'm doing this gig. Like, bring your friends. I'll get you guys in. They're like, nah, I'm good. Like, what the fuck? Like, this free show. Come on.
Yeah, probably because it is free. It's like, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like I thought of my parents and my grandparents, you know, it's like I had to walk to school uphill both ways in the snow, and I had it way rougher than you kids got it so easy. I feel like I fucking turned into that.
Oh man, do you know how often I phone my mom and apologize to her? Like I phone her, my kids will do things, and I'm like, hold on a second, I gotta call your grandma and apologize. Like, this just happened and blah blah blah. Yeah, I'm sorry. All right, soak it up, and click.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, I mean, as I'm getting older, I'm turning into my dad. Like my mom's husband, I thought that guy was the biggest whack job growing up, and turns out smartest dude I've ever met in my life. And I'm gonna be the crotchety old man that he is.
I am already there. I feel like it.
I'm gonna live vicariously through the youth while DJing. That's my goal. I'm gonna absorb their youth.
Yeah, you know, I kind of envy that about your career as a DJ, because you pivoting a genre or a popularity of something, whether you like it or not, like you can pivot in a way that has more sustainability than what I do. Because like when I started playing in bars, I was like 13 years old, and everybody was like 23 and 33, 20 years older than me. Right? Mm-hmm. Now I'm pushing fucking 50, and they're all still 20 years older than me.
Yeah, but I mean, your genre has longevity. The blues will always be around. I have DJed genres that have come and gone in the span of 3 years and never to be seen again. I have never in my entire career not seen blues around. I mean, you're good to go, man.
It's kind of interesting that you see that, because you're totally right. Blues are the roots, the rest of the fruits. And it's never been mainstream, but it's always kind of survived.
It's going to be the dumbest analogy, but it's kind of like root beer. You never see advertisements for it, but that shit is strong.
Yeah, it is. But like, your crowds could stay the same age.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like you were saying, though, is that is one of the things that I do really enjoy about it is, I mean, being a person with ADHD, I like novelty in things, and I'm always wanting to change things up. So I will just plan a different party. Like I'm working on starting up a daytime brunch party, and getting that off the ground, because I want to play 60s and 70s music, and the crowd that I'm usually playing for doesn't allow me to do that. So I can create that and do that because I want to, while, still maintaining the things that make me money.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, that's actually kind of interesting, because I just like envisioned like some sort of DJ website that, could show that. Because if you went, like, anybody looking for a DJ, maybe they're genre specific or decade specific, or they just don't care. They just want you to play whatever.
That is a bloody brilliant idea. A website that has a link to your different preferred type of DJ.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
that's just like, it just went.
Like, that's what you do, isn't it?
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
I go down a lot of rabbit holes.
Yeah, I feel that. That's every hobby that I've monetized just started as a rabbit hole.
Yeah, and then you find yourself in a position where you just want to monetize everything you ever do. Because it's hard to turn that brain off. I think you and I both have a similar,
I'm thinking so.
thing there. And I've met some people that do, and it's hard. Like, even in my personal life, just to turn it off. It's like, okay, time to ourselves. Let's turn on a show. It's just like, I can't. I get it. I go hunting a lot to be out in the outdoors and totally disconnect and like decompress from everything. And I still find my head's just like,
yeah,
it's hard to turn it off.
Yeah. You know what? And that's where music production kind of, that's my hunting. That's, so when I'm locked in and I'm just pumping out music, that's about the only time that brain ever shuts off. Because really everything, the beauty of production in my world is that there's 1,000,001 sounds that you get to play with. So if your brain is starting to branch off into something, you just grab a sound from that area, throw it in and play. And it just somehow shuts everything off.
Yeah, it's nice when you can get those moments.
Oh, there's so few.
I know. That's why I'm like, hey, I just saw this website that was, you should do it though. Honestly, I think, because, my day work is marketing. That's kind of what I do. Yeah. So I always try to look at it from the outside in, the customer side of things. And I think, like, as we're both in the music industry, just in different areas, but I see that as like, if your need is for a DJ and you just see something generic across the boards, I might not be as attracted to connecting with that business as if I was able to say, hey, I am into the 50s and 60s. That's the theme that I want, or an 80s, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you show these kind of, like, people could connect with that, as opposed to, like, you're not giving them any suggestion on what the lineup of music would be. And I think that's what's helped me and be semi-successful in blues, is because people just know, they look at me and they're like, this is what we're going to get. You either like it or you don't like it, on to the next thing. But with a DJ, you can appease everybody. That's like me just connecting with like 10 other bands and saying, we got you covered, right? Whatever you like, one of these bands can cover it.
Yeah. I know what I'm doing after this now. I'm going to go build myself a website.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and that's one thing, because I think people watching this, like, even though most of the people watching it are, kind of from the blues world of things, just from my history of things, but they've all had a wedding or some sort of event that just isn't appropriate for an obnoxious loud band, or they can't, maybe they can't afford a jazz trio to sit in the corner and play, but they can afford a DJ, to come in.
I would imagine those we're pretty damn expensive. It's that's one of the things I think is what keeps it interesting and like keeps it kind of serious, is the price for a DJ in an event definitely equals a band. Like it's up there. Which is kind of cool, because it keeps like the serious people coming.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And musicians, kind of find themselves in the same boat, right?
Yeah.
You can't devalue what you're doing.
No, that's very true. Yeah.
But I do find myself pivoting to certain things. Like, what I'm going to charge a festival is nowhere near what I'm going to charge a club. Mm-hmm. But when I play a 300 seat club versus a 60 seat club, you know, there's realities there too. Just because I'm at the point in my career where it's like, yeah, I can draw a bit of a crowd, but I still rely on venues to have clientele base. Otherwise I'd be playing places like the Commodore all the time, where I could just pack them on my name and I don't need a venue. I just book events and halls and things like that.
I'm very much kind of in a similar place. Like I have my following, but I'm still very much in the place where like you rely on the club to have their own following. And it's kind of a pain in the ass when you get booked by something that's like, well, why didn't you pack the place? It's like, you didn't do your homework. That's
yeah. Yeah. I always tell club owners, I'm like, well, you didn't hire your cook for him to bring all his friends and family in to eat off your menu, right? And I miss that of the old days. A lot of venues, it's good for the venue, because like, think about it. If I came in and played the Haney and I packed the place, and that's great, and then I go across the street and play a venue, then you're dead, and everybody came across the street with me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Where back in the day, like the Yale Hotel, the famous blues bar.
Oh yeah.
In Vancouver, I could play down the street 3 doors at another club, and all the people that saw me the night before at the Yale are staying at the Yale. Like, that's their place. They don't care who's playing there. They know it's going to be quality, and that's their spot to hang out, right? They built a clientele.
I mean, and that's actually something that you don't really see anymore, is loyalty to the venue. There's so many options out there now. I mean, for us, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 dance floors in town. And I mean, there used to be way back when, Tommy's, the Haney used to be Tommy's. That was the place to go. You went dancing at Tommy's. People came from outside cities, and that's just not a thing anymore. Right? A large part of that is because everybody that goes clubbing goes downtown. I mean, downtown Vancouver, you can't beat the club scene down there.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's interesting, and I feel like all the venues now, though, have tried to be everything to everyone. Where back in the days, in the success of having a place like Tommy's was, this is what we are. If you don't like it, don't come.
Yeah.
Nobody has that attitude anymore. It's like, everybody's welcome.
That's one of
to watch, Barney here with your kids eating at the table, and we want to show you the MMA fight over there.
Yeah, no, that's kind of the problem with the whole public house era. Everything became a public house, and it was, I mean, you had the changes of things where kids were allowed in bars, and I personally think that was like one of the worst moves ever, because you took the only safe haven away from adults. But I mean, that's kind of the thing. I was gonna say, that's one of the things I truly appreciate about the Wolf Bar, is it's always stayed true to what it is. It's never tried to be something else. It is a place to go see loud music. That's it. Don't like it, don't go.
Exactly. Yeah, no, you're totally right.
Yeah.
But the Haney's more of a pub now, though.
The Haney is a pub.
I go there all the time. I think it's great. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's honestly, it's like, I feel like it's the next phase of my life, because it's all of the people that I used to party with. They're now like, hey, let's have mimosas at 4:00 so we can be in bed by 9. And I'm all for that. If I can DJ from 4 to 9, I'll be in bed by 11.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, how things have changed. I remember it was like, it'd be 9:30 or 10 at night. Okay, let's go. No, it's too early.
Yeah.
Let's go until after 11.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
I mean, I see bands now, and the staff are so much the mentality, like at the Wolf, we're always talking about it. We're like, man, like bands are ending by like 11:30, 12 o'clock. We're like, you guys can play till 1:30. Like you have till 1:30 till you have to get off the stage. They're like, nah, we want to get home. Like,
that's
man.
crazy. Yeah. Well, I guess it's not crazy because I do that too. But yeah, I guess it depends how long they play. I remember the 10 to 2 gigs, 10 to 2, 9 to 1, 8 to 12.
Yeah.
Kind of, it's like a 4-hour stint with a couple 20-minute breaks or so.
Well, yeah. And I mean, you see with like one band, you'll see like one band will do 3 45-minute sets with like you said, with that 20-minute break in between.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. And everybody I've had on the podcast, we've talked in some way, just because I try to make sense of it, because my brain doesn't stop until I do. But sometimes you can't make sense of things that are like, it's hard to make sense of spaghetti.
That is so true.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So you're going to start up a DJ website now? Is that what's going on?
That's, that's it.
I think you should have one.
It was never meant to get this far. The collective started as just me and a couple buddies wanting to DJ again, and we needed to give it a title so that it stood out. And then we got hired for a couple weddings, and then it became Collective Entertainment. And now booking shows and I'm about to rent the Terry Fox Theater to do an all ages hip hop show in the middle of an afternoon. Like,
really? That's cool.
It wasn't meant to get this big.
Well, that's probably the beauty of now massaging something into something even bigger, because it's not meant to. I remember hearing a story from BB King where he said, I'd work 5 days a week picking cotton for $5, and I'd go to Beale Street on Saturday, Sunday, and make $9 busking. What I wanted to do for a career was, right before me.
Yeah.
And the analogy is that, you just started this for the love of it. Like BB went to busk for the love of it, and then realized
it's there. And I mean, that is
money there.
That's it. I mean, this is the thing is, it's for the first time in a while. And those words right there, for the first time in a while, there's money in it again. I mean, it's a viable career choice again. And I mean, for the last 5 years, it hasn't been a profitable industry to be in, which is why, got into sound tech and whatnot. But I mean, now getting back into booking shows again, like it's exciting and scary at the same time. Like it's a risk, and I don't know, but I'm going to do it.
risk versus reward. Honestly, I think the DJ market, you have, if you think from the music business, not the music I like business, there's so many more opportunities in there. You can pivot, unlike a great band could pivot genres. Yeah. And the ability to do that, I think, just opens up so many more doors and so many more markets. There's definitely a demand, and everything coming out of COVID. Everything was shitty during that time, unless, you sold, something that people could do with their house, build your backyard up, or,
the bars that made those DIY cocktail kits. That was one of the most genius things I've ever seen. Did you see any of those?
I don't think I did.
Town Hall, I believe, was the first one in Maple Ridge to do it. They had a signature cocktail that was a hit. And so they turned it into a little gift basket, and they put the alcohol, the mix, and the instructions on how to make it. And they sold DIY cocktails. And it was absolutely genius.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Well, you know, like I said, my line of work is marketing, and I had some venues actually reach out to me about building e-commerce sites off of their existing sites so that they could put their menus online, you know, so that they could compete with when the takeouts were doing that side of things. Right. And that was the, you know, I think, you know, the Uber Eats and the Skip the Dishes and these things like kind of filled the gap on a lot of that. But a lot of venues were like, well, you know, how difficult is it to do, you know, off of our site? And then, you know, maybe we can just continue this route, you know.
Well, I mean, e-commerce became such a powerhouse during that time. I mean, that's how Little Shop of Shirts really took off, was because you couldn't go anywhere to go get a shirt printed. So it basically, I really capitalized on my network of knowing people, and it just became one of those things like everybody called a friend, and if you could order online and pay online, you were the choice.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, so many places capitalized on that, and it was a bloody brilliant move. And I imagine people in your industry were very happy to see it take off like that.
Yeah, you know, there was this whole 99% of the world that was struggling and suffering, and you know, you find yourself in a market that's almost like the 1%ers. You know, you're like, wow, this is just exponentially overnight increased business, where other people experienced our business just died.
Yeah.
You know, so then it creates a whole world of problems in terms of, you know, companies that, you know, can't manufacture things fast enough to push them out the door. And there's all these, you know, first world problems as opposed to third world problems, I think some people encountered. But I think having the brain that you have in terms of being able to see trends, pivot with the trends, that's how you sustain.
I've
sustained myself.
Yeah, I mean, I attribute it to the amount of time that I have to spend on social media. I mean, marketing is, as much as I despise Facebook for what it is unfortunately the absolute best marketing tool. And I mean, I'm trying to learn Instagram, but I can't keep up with these kids. So like the younger guys that work with me, they're in charge of Instagram. That stuff's beyond me.
I'm with you for sure. Yeah, like my kids are all about Instagram, and I'm only, if it wasn't for this podcast and my band, I probably wouldn't have social media unless I was, you know, needing it to do some marketing, because I run Facebook ads for people and things like that. But so yeah, needed a bit for that. But other than that, yeah, you know, I spend a lot of time on social media too, and you know, you got to keep yourself out there.
I mean, that's exactly it. I mean, trying to grow on social media is so insanely hard. Like it's one of those things, like, unless you're on it all the time, always following the trends, you're going to fall behind and you're going to drown in the pool. Yep. So, I mean, you have to really learn to accept the toxicity for what it is and just keep trudging through it.
Yeah, there's something to be said for determination. Things, you know, things don't come easy. No. But I appreciate you taking the time to be on here, and yeah, we got to get you a DJ site going.
Thanks for having me, man. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah. And yeah, that website, I'm probably in the next couple of days, I'll message you and we'll chit chat about that more.
Yeah, for sure. I think it would do good if you want to, you know, push that to a next level. But hopefully we can send some people your way. Anybody that's needing a DJ, going to reach out. They're going to have your information in the description. So I will grab that from you once we get offline. But again, thanks for coming on and giving us your time.
Yeah, no problem, man. See you soon.
Cheers. You bet.